opportunity is, I'm glad you brought this up because, I mean, moving on to the federal government, which is a much bigger picture, obviously, but we're here in Washington, let's talk about it. We're talking about SNAP and WIC and those programs. Do you find that there is still a stigma involved in that, or is there a stigma? And especially with the federal debates that are going on with that, and the kind of foods that are allowed, are not allowed. What's going on with that? I know.
What do you think? Yeah.
Stigma is a big part of this, and policymakers have stigma around folks that. So if folks here aren't aware of the SNAP program, it stands for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps. And so, yes, there's a huge stigma around on the policymaker side. We also found that on the recipient side, though, it can be a barrier. So at the Food Trust, we've been working with a group, the Food Resource Action Center, FRAC, we always call them, based here in DC. They advocate for SNAP benefits. And together we've gone to 3 different cities, Houston, Denver, and Los Angeles, and we talked to folks about what are the barriers to people accessing SNAP. And part of it is personal. People will say, I don't want to, it's like a personal feeling of shame, which we need to change that narrative for people, because it's one of the ways, SNAP is so important. It not only gives you money in your pocket to pay for food, if you have more money in your pocket to pay for food, then the other money can for rent and everything else that you need in your life. And no, yes, absolutely. And on the policymaker side, we need to bring people here to the Hill to tell their stories so that people can meet folks and realize, hey, these are just regular folks. And most of these folks, it's just they're temporarily needing to be on SNAP. They lost their job, they had a health issue. And so we need people to be out there and telling their stories and explaining so that policymakers don't have a weird idea in their head.
For sure.
Yeah.
And also, I think another thing too about SNAP, and there's also different ways to spend those benefits, right? You don't necessarily need to go to a supermarket and spend the money that you get from SNAP. You can go to a CSA, you can go to a church, you can get there's so many different community-supported agriculture programs out here in DC and just anywhere really, where you can use those benefits and get fresh food, and it doesn't necessarily need to be out in the open if you have that sort of shame or whatever. Necessarily, you don't have to, but I mean, these are options that are out there.
Right.
Yeah, and there are programs, I know, nonprofits and corporations who will double your dollars if you go to a farmer's market and that kind of thing. And those kinds of partnerships, I think, are important both on a small level and on a large level. I know there are nonprofits who will go into corner stores in places with low fresh food access and will say, we'll give you all of this fresh food and we'll buy it back if people don't buy it. Because, the corner stores are businesses too, and if they put out fresh food and people don't buy it, they lose money. They're a small business and they've got to survive too. So how important do you think those partnerships are, both on a nonprofit level and on a corporate level?
I think it's really important because it not only combines the mission, but also combines the community behind it, right? We're talking about eating healthy, we're talking about fresh food, we're talking about access to all of that. And it's great when you have community leaders spearheading these type of initiatives in the corner stores, and folks that look like the people that live in their cities and their communities. So if you see a gentleman or a lady that is in a supermarket and is advocating, hey, eat fresh food, and we're taking up little stocks and slots in this corner market just for you guys to come in, and food is available for you. I think that's a really good start. Yeah.